There are video games that bring out the worst in people. With a virtual weapon in hand and adrenaline pumping, the ugliest sides of players come out. They hurl insults like missiles and get furious after every loss. Toxicity spirals out of control. We're talking about ranked modes, those competitive setups in online games where players are ranked and matched based on skill level. What started as a fun challenge has turned into a place where toxic behavior thrives and ruins the gaming experience. Games like League of Legends, Valorant, Overwatch. The big titles have embraced ranking systems and leagues, and they're making a lot of money from it. But as these modes become more common, it makes you wonder, should we keep playing these games? Ranked games are a big deal around here. If you're not familiar, they're those super competitive PvP modes where players are sorted and matched based on how good they are. This idea has been around forever. Think back to ancient chess games or board games like Stratego, where the best players always rose to the top. But in today's online video game world, ranked games are a whole new ballgame. In fact, it's thanks to chess that we have one of the earliest and most influential ranking algorithms. The story dates back to Arpad Elo, a Hungarian physicist and chess whiz who came up with a ranking system back in 1959. His system figured out the skill levels of chess players using stats. Here's how it works. Imagine you're a mixed martial arts fighter, and you're about to go up against someone new. How do you know if they're any good? Well, Elo's system gives each player a ranking number that shows how skilled they are. It's like having a superpower that lets you see how tough someone is just by looking at a number. But the Elo system does more than that. It also predicts how likely you are to win the fight based on the difference in rankings between you and your opponent. If your opponent's rating is 100 points higher than yours, and according to Elo, you only have a 36% chance of beating them. But if you manage to pull off a win against that higher-ranked fighter, your Elo score will shoot up while theirs will drop. So the system, based on calculating probabilities, lets players gain or lose rating points after each match depending on how they perform against a specific opponent. It quickly became the standard for ranking chess players worldwide. But the Elo system's impact wasn't limited to chess. Its simple math and ability to adjust automatically have made it a standard used in many other competitive activities like American football, baseball, basketball, billiards, ping pong, various board games, and of course, video games. Many competitive games use a ranking system based on the Elo method to match players fairly. Initially, games like League of Legends and Overwatch used tweaked versions of Elo to figure out how good players were. But as time went on, they made changes between seasons to make things better. Other games like World of Warcraft, Puzzle Pirates, and FIFA Mobile also started using this method to decide who's in which division in modes like player arenas or puzzles. Lately, games like Air Mech, RuneScape 3, MechWarrior Online, and Age of Empires 2 have started using Elo or similar systems too. Even though Elo was once super popular, not many games still use the original version because it's kind of old-fashioned now. One game that sticks to the original Elo method is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. But if it's not the original Elo anymore and we know the ranking system's still there, is there another system that does the same thing? There's TrueSkill, cooked up by the smart folks at Microsoft Research. TrueSkill doesn't just slap a number on you like Elo does. Instead, it keeps track of two things: how good it thinks you are on average and how sure it is about that guess. Picture this. You're a newbie in an online game. TrueSkill starts you off with a basic skill level, but it's not too sure about it because it doesn't know you yet. As you play more, it gets a better idea of your skill. If you pull off some big wins against better players, your skill level shoots up fast while TrueSkill gets more confident about it. But if you struggle against lower-ranked opponents, TrueSkill thinks maybe you're not as good as it thought. The magic happens when the system uses these skill values to figure out who you're evenly matched with. It crunches some numbers and predicts who you're likely to tie with. Then it sets you up with opponents who have similar chances of tying with you. So the system keeps tweaking and honing its assessments to make sure you're always up against opponents who are pretty evenly matched in skill. No one's invincible, and there aren't any super weak players either. That's why ranked mode has become a big thing in online multiplayer games. Two big ones that use it are Valorant and League of Legends. In Valorant, you play 5 versus 5 matches. After a bunch of placement matches, you get a rank based on how you did. Win or lose more matches, and your rank goes up or down through a hidden scoring system. But in League of Legends, it's even more complex, and maybe that's why it's one of the super toxic environments out there. But we will talk about that in a sec. See, in LoL, you start in one of 9 skill divisions and move up by winning games. Each division has 4 sub-levels, making it more detailed. Players in the top leagues like Diamond or Master are big deals in the League community. Players are really into moving up the ranks that a lot of games give out special rewards at the end of each season for hitting high ranks. Ranked modes have definitely become the main thing for competition in modern games. And there are solid reasons for this trend that go beyond just encouraging competition. At its core, a good ranked matching system solves a big problem for game makers: making sure everyone has fun no matter how good they are. Making that happen is a big challenge. Imagine trying to match players up in a huge online world where people are always coming and going. It's not easy. That's where skill-based matchmaking comes in. It sorts players into groups based on how good they are, so everyone gets a fair shot. Newbies don't get crushed by pros, and vice versa. Every game feels like a fair fight. But ranked systems do more than just pair up players. They give folks a reason to keep playing and getting better. People take pride in their ranks, and it creates a friendly rivalry. Check me out, I'm a top-tier diamond. For game makers, a good ranking system means they can keep players engaged with cool rewards and special events. It's a win-win. Basically, ranks make multiplayer games more fun and competitive. They keep things exciting and give you something to aim for. Until they don't. It's pretty well known that video games, especially the competitive ones, can make a lot of players lose their cool. You hear a lot of swearing, shouting, and behavior you wouldn't normally see. A study done by Oddseeker and Reddit looked at hundreds of thousands of posts to figure out how toxic different gaming communities are. And guess what? If you thought League of Legends players were the worst, you'd be wrong. It turns out that Apex Legends players are actually the most toxic, with 31% of posts being negative and nasty. League of Legends is close behind at 30%, just 1% less than Apex. This is surprising, considering how much League is known for its toxic community. And it's not just League, the Call of Duty. Warzone community also has a 30% toxicity rate, putting it right up there with League. But why does this happen? Why do players become so toxic? Well, at first glance, ranking in League systems in video games seem like a surefire formula for success. They create addictive, competitive, and challenging experiences that keep players hooked. However, this very addictive and reward-focused nature is also the root of a serious problem: lots of toxic behavior. A research published in the journal Computers and Human Behavior suggests that gamers who are extrinsically motivated, playing to achieve social status or external rewards, are more prone to addiction and aggression. When a player's self-esteem is closely tied to their position in the rank hierarchy, every loss or downgrade feels like a personal blow. Negative emotions like anger, frustration, and bitterness are unleashed, regardless of actual performance. The need to channel those negative feelings towards something or someone else often manifests in the form of insults, harassment, or sabotage towards teammates. Developers have unwittingly, or perhaps intentionally, created a highly addictive and inherently stressful environment. As players climb the ranks, every setback or bad match feels immensely amplified. It's like an addiction where increasingly larger dopamine hits are needed to achieve the same sense of accomplishment. From a game design perspective, this dynamic is a big win. It keeps millions of players hooked and coming back daily. But from a human perspective, it fosters very unhealthy psychological patterns that cultivate toxic behavior as an inevitable byproduct. But if you thought toxicity was the only issue, well, we're far from done. Besides dealing with toxic behavior between players, ranked modes bring other worrying problems that put the integrity of games at risk. One big problem is the rise of shady practices like boosting. If you're not familiar, it's when high-level players are hired to play on weaker accounts, artificially boosting their rankings. This cheating comes from the obsession with reaching the top ranks at any cost. High ranks come with status and cool rewards like special skins or access to tournaments, which make cheating tempting. But boosting isn't just bad for the game's integrity. It messes up the game experience for everyone by messing up skill-based matchmaking. Players with inflated ranks end up facing legit skilled opponents, while their teammates suffer from having someone who doesn't belong. Another worry is how ranking systems can mess up players' motivations. The goal should be having fun, but with ranks and rewards in the mix, many players become focused solely on winning and getting ahead. Players get really obsessed with winning, even if it means they forget about playing fair or being a good teammate. They'll dig deep into the game to find the most overpowered stuff that gives them an easy win, instead of relying on their own skills. In such a frustrating environment, is it even worth playing anymore? I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. And if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest investigation.